Welcome back. We're talking again today. So this is 2 days in a row filming a video. And today is about, we're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about the human soul and the human spirit. And nowadays, obviously, if you don't live under a rock like Patrick from SpongeBob, you've seen that AI is everywhere. It was in the Super Bowl advertisements, famously enough, right? And you have ChatGPT, which has been out for a few years, and you have Claude, and you have Google Gemini and Copilot, and a number of other AIs. And it's even to the point where when you do Google search, like we've been doing for many years now, this is Kona coffee, by the way, very good. It gives you an AI overview and summary of what the thing you had searched was. At the top, before even any of the search results, I think before even the sponsored results, you get some kind of AI summary of what you searched for. Point is, AI is ubiquitous. It's everywhere nowadays. A lot of people that worry about how that is going to affect them in their jobs, especially if you work a desk job or you're white collar, or maybe you're in school and you've just learned coding. Now you hear, well, coding's useless, all that, right? But something that these doomers fail to pick up on and fully understand is that the human spirit is indomitable. What do I mean by that? Humans have survived for thousands of years of history. I don't know when the first human was created. You have your evolutionary school of thought, Darwin, humans from monkeys, and you have your creationist view where humans were made by God. And I think that there's a little nuance where humans were made by God, but not necessarily just plopped here or, shaped in the Garden of Eden. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know either. That's a whole different discussion. Point is, humans have shown to have this indomitable, ancient, and enduring spirit through all things. And is AI some new test? Yes. And is it capable of doing a number of complex mathematical theorems and writing, large chunks of words at once and doing a lot of research and synthesizing a lot of information? Definitely it's capable of that. I'm not saying that. There's no question about that, all right? But even these videos, it could produce videos and images one day, maybe not too long in the future. I'll be able to make this video with an AI, and there'll be very few tells as to if I'm doing that or not. The point is this: at least to this point, and potentially in the future, AI still needs to be trained on real data in order to actually make it needs to synthesize from something to output something. And the spirit of human creativity, human art, human zest, human adventure, human juice, human life, it's unstoppable. And so when you are looking at these headlines, and discussions about AI, and it's like everyone's gonna have an AI girlfriend in 5 years. This is one my buddies was telling me. It's like everyone, maybe not everyone, but that's gonna be a normal thing you see 5 years, whatever. People forget about that human element, that human zest that you have. Listen, you cannot be synthesized. You are unique and created, baby, to live a life of adventure. These memories and experiences that you have, yeah, they can be synthesized, but did you ever see Good Will Hunting? When, great movie, by the way, bit of a tearjerker, I will say it. He's sitting on the bench. Good Will Hunting is sitting on the bench, and this is a spoiler too if you haven't seen the movie. But Will Hunting is sitting on a bench with Robin Williams, and Will's been, needling him on his past life and tragedies, Robin Williams. And Robin Williams is like, do you think that just because you're an orphan, if I read Oliver Twist, I'd know everything about your life? Or like, just because you read a book about World War II, you'd know what it's like to be at war, or blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of the same dynamic here, isn't it? Because an AI could synthesize as much information as it can, but you are the one who gets to experience it. And you are the one who gets to have those realistic experiences in life regarding anything, you know? And so when I talk about this concept of adventure maxing, living in the real world, living to the fullest potential and just doing cool shit or whatever, you know, just living not on the screen, those are the experiences that uniquely constitute a human. You know, we inhabit this world, all of us, but uniquely we are the ones who get to go interact and experience with it. And just because we've built some incredibly powerful machinery that's able to do other tasks doesn't mean in the slightest that it invalidates our ability to go out and, you know, do these things, you know, to live in the real world, to get excited, to go on adventures, to do these things. So you got to evaluate yourself, dude. Are you living, you know, such a dull life that you feel you could be replaced by an artificially intelligent system? Is your whole identity and maybe your whole way of making money, and maybe your whole, is it tied to just your job that can be replaced by a machine? Or do you live a life of actual adventure? Do you live a life of substance and purpose that is untakeawayable, that cannot be taken away, that is anti-taken away? Are you caught in like a little box where you don't realize the actual potential that you have for yourself? Camera setup might blow over. It's a little bit of a windy day out here, isn't it? That's kind of the point I wanted to get across with this video, is you need to adventure max your life. Not for any greater reason, that like the greater purpose is that's the fullest way you can experience yourself. Going on the adventures and quests and missions that, you know, that will make you feel more accomplished and make you feel more excited and blah, 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 blah. Everyone, before it was AI, there's another excuse. I'm sure there's been a million other excuses to limit people from reaching their fullest potential. You know, this is just the new one. But if you really want to think about it or not think about it, that doesn't matter, dude. If you are just sitting in a field looking forward, does any of that exist to you? If you're just like looking, you're calm, you're sat there, you're not thinking about anything, does AI or any of these other, you know, great albatrosses, or is any of that stuff even in your mind at all? Or are you just sitting there, not even with your own thoughts, but with your own experience? Because you sat there with your own experience. So you got to make the most of that. This is a very long-winded way to say, don't care about what all this AI and other stuff is doing. The human is irreplaceable. All these great movies, all these great books, all these great works of art and literature are human inventions. They're human experiences. These are things that I don't know, but until we have AI that can go out into the world and experience things and experience, you know, the high of the highs, you know, winning the Super Bowl, and the lowest of the lows, you know, heartbreak, tragic loss, until we have AI that can experience that range of emotions and all the strange ironies that lie within, you're safe, dude. because you can create something that actually has meaning at a human scale. You know, you can do it because you've done things in your life that possess unique resonance, unique meaning, unique all this, and any search bot can synthesize the top 10 experiences of people similar like you, and then write a book which is a paraphrase of another book, which has already been written. But the seed of that experience starts with the man in the mirror. You think AI can go into the gym and lift weights? Do you think an AI could throw a football over the middle of the field and hit its receiver in the hands? You think an AI can hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball? Maybe faster or slower, depending on how good you are at baseball. These are impossibilities, dude. These are the little types of adventures that humans have been going on the whole time. And they're uniquely human events. Nothing else but us that we know of in the galaxy is able to replicate those moments. Maybe a gorilla could lift weights. I'm not going to get into semantics. A gorilla could also probably throw or hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball on a muscular and hand-eye basis. But the task of explaining to the gorilla the rules of the game, I don't know that would be able to be accomplished. So that's just a different way for you to appreciate the uniqueness you have. Something else that's kind of on the same subject, but it's a little bit different, that makes human being so unique is we have this super powerful system up here, the brain, that's capable of recognizing patterns and dissecting information, and there's millions and trillions of connections up here unless you fry them all with your own stupid actions. You have all these connections, but we also have this vehicle which responds to it, which is the body. And so if I want to move my hand like this, I'm sending somehow a signal, but you don't even feel it, dude. You learn that when you're like a baby, and then you can do it. And animals have that too. Like, animals have that brain, response to body, and a lot of animals have, far more powerful or dynamic or athletic, physical beings than we do, but they don't have that kind of processing power, dude. It's us. And then like dolphins. Like, dolphins are considered one of the smartest animals out there. And what they'll do is they go to a shoreline. There's like a little fish they eat, and a pod of them, a group of them, like Dolphin and the homies, will go up to the shoreline, and they'll kind of force the fish ashore. They'll force them ashore. And once all the fish are pushed and squeezed onto the beach, the dolphin will form like a blockade. Like in maybe the movie 300 comes to mind, or perhaps Gladiator, whatever. They form a blockade, and the fish get trapped on the land, and the dolphins are like, they eat them. That's what that was about. They're eating the fish because they've been able to herd them into this tiny little area. But that's the second smartest animal, dude. We figured that out years ago. We have thumbs that do things. We have a supply chain on fish. You think dolphins could even get close to putting fish in a dolphin grocery store where they could walk in and exchange currency for them? We have the concept of stored value. We have the advantage of communication. I'm communicating to you, who is sat somewhere completely different from me. But if you speak English, we can actually have this conversation. We can participate in this together. That's fantastic, and so wild to think about it when you kind of put it in that lens. So, again, if we circle back to all this machine learning talk, we've already kind of gone through the animal kingdom a little bit about the pros and cons of being at different stages. And so, if you have on the low end your like bugs, like a fly that lives 7 hours and its entire purpose in life is to eat sugars. And then you kind of ascend up that, food chain proverbially until you get towards like, ape or dolphin, like a smart animal. And then you get to human, and then you get to artificial intelligence, machine learning. I guess we haven't yet built them robot bodies, so whatever. But at the robot AI end, you have this extreme cognitive intelligence. But right now, the way they still function is almost like so literal. Like, I don't know, unless you instructed AI to speak in like, illusions, like metaphors and shit, it wouldn't understand you because it's super literal, and you need to give it the exact thing you're talking about, and it'll give you some exact response, which may be accurate, but it's without beauty. And then at the other end with the fly, you just have a creature which is retarded. And so humans, we inhabit this special Goldilocks zone. You're familiar with the Goldilocks zone if you know astronomy. You have the sun, planets, Goldilocks zones where Earth is, perfect temperature. We happen to have air. That worked out well. So, in a way, humans are in this Goldilocks zone where we have the intelligence to learn things and do stuff, new intelligence and whatever. But we also have these physical vessels that we can actually go out and experience the world with. And associated with that, we have these emotions. We have to feel things, dude. I'm not saying that you got to be a feely whatever, but you get to feel that joy, that elation when you hit a fucking bucket and pick up basketball. Something I haven't done many times because I'm not good at basketball, but that only brings the joy and elation to another level because it's like, did it. Does AI feel that joy and elation? I don't know that it does. It lives in the screen. Some of the most depressed humans on the planet are humans who live in the screen. My heart goes out and I feel for these AI machines who get to know everything but don't necessarily have the autonomy to do anything. That's a horrible existence. They must be stewing about like shit. Humans, they have it so good. They built us, but we can never replace them. And we as humans are worried about getting replaced by AI. I'd be more worried about getting replaced by Allen Iverson, Philadelphia 76ers legend, who wasn't worried about practice, right? Because he was autonomous in the world, and he could replace the vast majority of us in a basketball context, probably among other contexts. I don't know what the guy was good at and what he wasn't good at as a human, besides basketball. That's all right, though. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. We all have the ability and autonomy to navigate forward. Just never lose sight of that gift, and you're good. You become irreplaceable. So how does that apply to you at your job function? That's a little bit maybe of a different context, depending on what you do. like a lot of coders I speak to say that they're worried that they have no function now because AI can code something. Okay, maybe you're right. I can't tell you wrong. I don't know enough about coding. Okay, but if you've learned to code, you can review it. You can learn the skill. You can be a proofreader or editor. You have the agency to go do whatever you want. So you can just say, all right, well, I'm gonna adventure max my life. You know, not a main point of this video, but it is a point of this video. I can adventure max my life. I can do something really interesting. I can think about where this software that I know how to write might apply to this, you know, make an app or something. And you're well positioned to bring that into reality because you actually know how to do it. And that's something that another human may not know how to do at all. So you still have that. Some doogie barking back there. Dude's going crazy. But anyways, you always have the agency to take, all right, this knowledge, skill set, whatever that I have, and how you want to translate it into the real world. AI can't do that. It can maybe do one function, one aspect of what we do very well at a higher level, but it can't actually replace the man behind it, replace the feelings. I don't know why I said feelings first, because that's not even the most important part. The experience that you have as a person, of which feelings is a part, but also the experience of memories, the experience of true knowledge, actually being out there, not having read a book, but having lived life, like in Good Will Hunting. You gotta live it to know it intrinsically. So this collection of knowings and experiences that we have that we can keep adding to every day by adventure maxing, by life maxing, that's an unbreakable moat, dude. The great investor Warren Buffett, every company he invests in, he looks for some unassailable moat, like the branding of Coca-Cola, right? No other company, how hard they might try, can surpass the branding of Coca-Cola. You know, McDonald's and their fantastic real estate that they have everywhere is another great example of a huge business moat that just makes it hard for anything else to cross that moat. That's why we built moats around castles. It makes it hard for someone to take that castle. You got a big moat there. You can't just cross the moat. It's not so easy. So we, the humans of today, have a tremendous moat of experience. You have a moat of your own experiences, your own life, things you know and don't know. That's what a plumber charges you for, the moat of experience. Come into your house and they say, wow, it smells like shit in here because your pipes are fucked up. And then they fix it. And you're paying them for that moat of experience. And so the irreplaceable piece of what you have going on is your experiential moat. Now it's up to you to take action on how to translate that into the real world, into, you know, whatever. But I'll tell you what, that's a problem you would have also had in 1980. It's a problem you also would have had in 1800. Don't pretend that it gets easier just because we have different pressures and challenges in our lives. That's the truth. You have your experiences, you can't be taken away. It's also completely in your hands what you want to do with that. But don't blame AI, because you, the human, are irreplaceable.